Alibaba's share price closed out below $130 a share today, which is a 4.5-year low. It's also down about 60% since its all-time high last year. So the question really is, what is the bottom for Alibaba's stock price? All right, in order to answer that question, I really want to dive into the chart. So looking back, historic support levels for Alibaba was 176. It blew past that back in August. And then the next levels of support were at 155, 170, and 160, and we blew past those as well. Now we're at the level of support where I thought this was the floor for Alibaba in a worst case scenario. Now we've just dropped below the 130 level of support. To find the next level of support, you're going 4.5 years into the past. And you're looking at about 125. We're only about $2 or $3 shy of that at this point. So that's not really a very, we're not far from that level of support. The next level of support after that is probably, in the 115. Then we're going down into 110, and then we're looking at going to 100. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just say my floor for Alibaba is probably at 100. I think there's something mentally that will not allow Alibaba's stock price to go below 100. However, I've been wrong twice now on Alibaba's floor, and so I'm not going to stay true to that at all anymore. This has continued to blow past support levels, past anything. Remember, a golden cross or a death cross actually occurred back in February of the beginning of this year in February, and that's what kind of started all of this. And the sentiment has just continued to get worse. There's fears on China. There's fears on delisting. There's tons of fears around Alibaba's name. But the financials are still there. Yes, I've talked about how the financial guidance for Q2 was not as good as it was for prior, but it's still a really good level of financial strength for a company of Alibaba's size. If you like videos on personal finance, investing, and stock analysis, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. Back to your content. So people are probably asking themselves, what do I do with Alibaba now that it's depressed by almost 60%? Do I sell my holdings? Do I consider buying more and lower my cost basis? What do I do with Alibaba? There's a ton of red in my portfolio. Or maybe there's some sharks out there going, hey, there's blood in the streets. Maybe I should get in. Well, if you're looking at the valuation of Alibaba, I do believe Alibaba's fair value is closer to $300 a share. So why did I sell my stuff? Why are people selling Alibaba when the valuation is definitely much higher? Well, the sentiment is just awful. There's a ton of things that are specific to Alibaba that have not gone right over the last year and a half, and there's a ton of things specific to China that have definitely caused Alibaba and other Chinese stocks to drift into the red severely over the course of the last year. So right now, it doesn't look like a good time to buy Alibaba from a timing perspective. But if you're looking over long periods of time and you take delisting and you take some things off the risk table, I mean, you have to weigh those risks of delisting and probability. You have to weigh the risk of whether a VIE structure is valid. You have to understand and try to do those probabilities for yourself and see what that looks like for you. And so what you need to do is, if you're looking at a long-term perspective, what's happening in the short term is really non-consequential to you. If you're looking at a long-term perspective and you're looking at what Alibaba should be worth today, then today might be a good time for you to buy. However, if you're in a short-term mode, you need money for a short-term basis, Alibaba's probably not a good position for you to enter, just because it could continue to drift lower. It could stay at these levels for a long period of time. In my opinion, Alibaba is going to stay down for at least another quarter, possibly two. We're going to need some stable financials out of Alibaba, at least for one quarter or possibly two, just to see it getting back to where it was in Q1 of this year. So that's my prediction. That's why I felt comfortable with selling Alibaba once the earnings came out. We have all these problems with Alibaba. The last thing we wanted to see was some financial weakness. And no, it wasn't terrible news. There was some things in there that, from an analyst perspective, were significantly lower than what analysts were expecting. But if you were conservative in your estimates, if you were cautious about how you value companies, very give yourself an adequate margin of safety when you're doing your investments, then what Alibaba reported was not super, it doesn't throw your valuation off by much. So all I'm trying to get to with that is, be cautious and be conservative when doing valuations. And when you're looking over the long period of time, be comfortable, have high conviction in your stock. But for me personally, I saw this as a great tax planning opportunity. And like I said, I don't think it's going to happen. Nothing price-wise is going to shoot up in the next quarter, possibly 2 quarters. We really have to see some positive things coming from Alibaba specifically, and then some macroeconomic conditions have to change from a China sentiment perspective that's going to also boost Alibaba as well. Those things won't happen overnight. They're not going to happen quickly. And then to address the whole Omicron thing, that is not specific to Alibaba. In fact, that is something that probably boosts Alibaba's sales. So there's nothing recently in the news in the last week that is going to change my mind in terms of what is affecting Alibaba. The financial weakness is the last big hit on Alibaba. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing. I do videos on personal finance, investing, and stock analysis, such as this one. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers. If you can please help me get across that threshold. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Frank Finance, out.